The core of Path of Exile is character customization. Most expansions introduce new ways to play the game, sometimes including brand new skill gems. Path of Exile 2 will be no different. In fact, it will be the single largest drop of new skills into Path of Exile in the game's history. Between introduced skill gems, the concept of skills attached to ascendancy classes, and weapon implicits granting skills as well, once PoE 2 hits, we'll be inspired to craft a plethora of brand new builds with a batch of visually pleasing new skills. We are less than a month out from ExileCon 2023 and the total reveal of everything related to Path of Exile 2. Let's hop on the hype boat and explore what we do know about all the new skills arriving in this big content drop. The long-awaited Shapeshifter archetype finally enters Path of Exile with Path of Exile 2. Presently, we're aware of at least 3 different shape-shifting forms: the werewolf, the werebear, and the werecat. The werewolf will be accessible via a skill gem and function much like an aura. This is probably the case for the other 2 forms too. Werewolf users focus on speed, attacking fast and moving fast. The form can be transitioned to and from seamlessly. Inside the form, you will be able to use any skill that makes sense. The 2 examples GGG used were Leap Slam and Cleave, although I'm sure many other melee skills will be usable too. Spell skills, probably not usable in the werewolf form, although we could be surprised. Similar to the werewolf gem, the werebear is also stored within a skill gem, although we never saw it in action. While a werebear will likely focus on tankiness, its functionality should be the same as the werewolf. Personally, I think this will be a form we can briefly swap to and gain major defenses inside. Think of an emergency Val Molten Shell or something similar. A huge boss strike is incoming, so we quickly swap to werebear form before dancing back to werewolf or werecat form. Unlike the other 2 former shapeshifting forms, the werecat form can only be accessed through the Beastmaster Ascendancy class, one of 3 new ascendancies gained by the Ranger in Path of Exile 2. Due to this, there will likely be more power packed inside this form than the latter 2. Plus, it'll have a specialization in critical strikes. Don't worry about scaling either. In PoE 2, skills granted by ascendancy classes will scale with the character's level and not remain static. I'm hoping for a variety of new playstyles enabled due to shapeshifting. In addition to adding this entirely new archetype, I really hope it'll introduce a shift dancing playstyle, incentivizing players to swap between multiple forms in prolonged fights. I'm also on the additional forms train. Give us a werebat, werespider, and wereboar too, GGG. The new crossbow weapon class will add a variety of new skills to the game in the form of weapon implicits and actual skill gems. Power Shot is a high damage single target attack skill granted by a crossbow implicit, which can be modified by bolt skill gems. We know of 3: Permafrost Bolt, Armor Piercing Bolt, and Incendiary Bolt. Permafrost deals cold damage, conjures a V field of ice, and can freeze enemies. Armor Piercing deals extreme damage, breaking through the armor of enemies. Incendiary sparks a field of fire and can leave corpses burning. Again, these bolt skills are like auras and can be swapped between to change how your crossbow attack skill of choice functions. They don't seem to reserve mana, and swapping between them doesn't have any associated cost. The Siege Cascade skill is granted by the Siege Crossbow and essentially acts like the current day Rain of Arrows skill. You shoot a bolt into the air and it slams down on enemies. Again, your various bolt skills modify how Siege Cascade works. The second new weapon class coming with PoE 2, Spears boast a host of brand new skills found both on skill gems and on the weapons themselves as implicit modifiers. Every single spear in the game will grant exiles at least 1 mobility skill, with some granting 2. One of the spears we've seen came with both an engage and disengage skill. The former skill grants increased damage for a short time once used, while the latter unleashes a flurry of projectiles upon use. Another new skill is Whirling Slash, which creates a sandstorm which grows each time you use it, then explodes when you leave it, dealing huge damage to monsters. Yet another spear skill gem is Rapid Assault, which does 3 rapid stabs, then a 4th that does more damage and can possibly stun, rewarding those who position themselves well. Here's another one. Spearfield creates an area of spears in the ground, which deals bleeding damage to monsters who walk through it. It's basically a damaging area control skill gem. And another one, Storm Spear. Storm Spear fires a lightning projectile which splits on contact, kind of like Lightning Strike. And finally, Blazing Lance creates a trail of fire on the ground, which can be hit again to fan the flames for a burst of damage. Already, that's 7 new skills introduced from spears. Absolutely wild. Path of Exile 2 shall bring a new gem type into the game, Metagems. These gems accomplish a niche purpose or enact an odd design pillar, functioning differently from other gems, sort of like the Empower, Enhance, and Enlighten exceptional support gems. 3 known examples are the Proficiency, Cast on Crit, and Spell Totem support gems. The former can hold all your auras inside it, allowing them to be activated with the click of a button. The latter completely revamps the current spell totem support gem, allowing you to socket multiple intelligent gems into the metagem itself. For example, you can socket an elemental curse and an elemental skill into the gem, and it will know to use the curse first and the spell skill second. Even though the developers have been steadily revamping and sometimes merely updating the visual effects of existing skills, it's evident more drastic changes shall arrive with the momentous release of Path of Exile 2. Some of the speculation we're about to undergo might be revamps to existing skills, or these might be new skills entirely. We'll have to wait for the end product to see, but there's sure to be an absolute ton of other visual and animation updates on release, especially with the updated Exile models and far advanced rigging technology GGG has developed. Alright, you heard me. From here on out, we're speculating and reading into the trailers released by Grinding Gear Games related to Path of Exile 2. You've been warned. Both the Nama Kanui and Agarat teasers showcased a rapid-fire barrage of potentially new elemental skills. The Exile in the Jungle Ruin seems to use a revamped Spark skill, curving her hand toward the floor and conjuring a small lightning projectile that randomly zips along the ground. Afterward, she either uses a new cold damage skill or yet another revamped skill gem, Ice Nova. Finally, the Exile finishes off a group of the infected creatures with a brand new cold damage skill, a Meteor of Ice. If I were to guess, its name is probably Ice Meteor. Then, in the Agarat teaser, we see the Monk Exile use his staff to twirl around, another new skill, create a ground-targeted arc of lightning, and a cone of ice. Both look like completely new skills, unlike anything else we've seen in Melee right now. The Monk is also using lots of skills, which could mean a few things. GGG might have just wanted to show off all these skills and animations because they look cool, or they could be hinting toward a combo system of sorts with this class. What if there are new abilities or support gems that incentivize using a variety of skills or damage types to build up for a huge payoff, as somewhat shown in this teaser? A combo system of sorts? It's definitely a possibility, especially for the Monk, an archetype known for their wild combo potential. We've seen a dodge roll in the two most recent snapshots of Path of Exile 2. So, how will a tumble-like ability enter PoE? I'd gander it's a new skill gem or a basic movement skill, like our basic attack skill. If it's a new skill gem, we would likely get it very early as a way to introduce new players to Path of Exile's method of dodging big boss attacks. Roll would be a precursor to Flame Dash and Frostblink. Maybe. Option 2, Roll is our new basic movement skill and one of our only movement skills. There is a small possibility we're about to see a major shift in the way movement skills function in Path of Exile. Imagine this. We get Roll as a basic movement skill or one of a few movement skill gems. Instead of having individual hyper-focused skill gems, GGG adds the ability for a variety of support gems to modify these new basic movement skills. Thusly, we could form our own movement skills. Say farewell to Flame Dash, but with Flame Trail support and Insta-Phase support mixed with the Dash skill gem, you'd have your own with 3 more supports to use and modify it with. I could see 4 base movement skills possible: Roll, Dash, Charge, and Blink. What do you think? Sound off in the comments. Fellow Totally Sane Exiles, we are 24 days away from ExileCon. I cannot wait for the absolute overload of information we're about to endure. Of course, there will be content here twice a week until then, and an avalanche of new knowledge once ExileCon arrives. I'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching the videos on screen now. Every minute you watch helps the channel grow. Huge thank you to my current patrons and channel members for their direct support. Tala Moana.